Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with another movie reaction today, and we're going to be doing Kimi no Nawa. I'm sure I've pretty much just butchered the pronunciation for that, so I apologise to all the Japanese brethren out there. But the English goes by Your Name, so yeah, that's the movie we're going to be doing today. There's not really much that I need to talk about before we get into this, really, because I mean, I have no reference to what it is about. Generally, like, the movies that I've done beforehand have come off the back of, like, shows and series that I've watched. But this one is just a movie, like, on its own. So, there's, like, nothing I know about this. One of the tags for, like, the, you know, the different, like genres that the movie supposedly goes into is, one of them was supernatural, so that's a bit of an intrigue there. And other than that, the only other thing I know about this movie is that it was super popular. I think it was like something like the highest grossing animated movie like outside of the US or something like that. I can't remember if it like took over Spirited Away or not, because I know that that one's like the top dog. But then I think even that was taken over by Demon Slayer Mugen Train. So you know, but that's pretty much all I know about this. It was insanely popular, and yeah, I want to get into this and see the reasons why it was so popular. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. I think we're just going to get into it and see what we get. As always, I will put the sort of the cut 20-minute or so reaction here on YouTube. But if for whatever reason it gets taken off for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and the link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, the link to the full-length reaction to this movie will be in the description below as well. So if you do want to watch my full uncut reaction to the movie itself, then the offer is there for you in the description below. But yes, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get into Kimi no Nawa and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
朝目が覚めるとなぜか泣いている。そういうことが時々ある。
見ていたはずの夢はいつも思い出せない。ずっと何かを誰かを探している。
そういう気持ちに取りつかれたのは多分あの日から。
それはまるで
夢の景色のように、ただひたすらに美しい眺めだった。
That's cool. They both feel exactly the same way, so there's... I'm wondering, like, is it more... I don't know, is it, like, premonition based? Okay.
覚えてない。名前は三葉。
That's a view. Is it Mitsuha? Is that what it was? Yes, it is. Okay. That old is just half asleep, or she's having dreams that are so real that she can't grasp the difference. I mean, this could be a thing where she's like, where none of this is real, and she's like in a coma. Or she could be dead. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I assume there's a reason why they showed the meteor at the beginning. It didn't look as big as a comet. The one at the beginning. That's the ribbon that she gave. But it seems as though it's more premonition based at the moment, because it looked like she was trying to give it to Taki. Notice as well, the meteor at the beginning was going in, like, or towards that lake where she lives, and it seems as though Taki lives in the city. She's the mayor's kid. Okay.
夕方、昼でも夜でもない時間、世界の輪郭がぼやけて人ならざるものに出会うかもしれない時間。
Maybe she is possessed by like some other thing that's like living through her. I don't know.
自分の名前覚えてるのね。私もそっちがいいわ。 私もそっちがいいわ。 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 私もそっちがいいわ。
四つ葉にはまだ早いわ。わしらの組紐にはな、糸森1000年の歴史が刻まれとる。お宮も古文書も皆やけ。これが俗に言う
眉五郎の大化。
So it's just
せや
passed
けど
down
文字は
from
消えても
generation.
伝統は消しちゃいかん。それがわしら宮水神社の大切なお役目。
和彦、週末は現場手伝い、葉っぱ使うでな、勉強や。返事は
What?
ああ。
Alright, so they're both involved with families that are in politics. Or high up, I guess. Nice animation. I wonder what this ritual's for. Exactly.
世界最古の酒なんやって。
私絶対無理。よく人前でやるよりよな。
I mean, it's crazy because anyone who drinks that
元気出しないよ。
is essentially
思春期前のお子様は気楽でええよね。
drinking
そうや。
their saliva.
プチプチをいっぱい作ってさ、東京行きの資金にしたら。もうこんな街嫌や。こんな人生嫌や。来世は東京のイケメン男子にしてください。
Interesting. Is that a possible connection between her and Taki, maybe? And now he wakes up. Let's see his daily routine. Yeah, there is this. They're both. Whatever the spirit is moving between them. As he went to check his breasts. Oh, God. Christ.
誰？
Sorry, because I think he's still got mannerisms from Mitsuha. Or did they like chop and change between, as in like his spirit at this moment in time is now in her, but we're not seeing that right now, as opposed to it being one spirit passing between. Because he must have wrote like his spirit in her the day when she was like apparently totally different person, possessed. He must have asked who are you, right? But then if it's being passed in between, she would have already seen this beforehand, right?
東京や。
Yeah, so we're going to see it from the other side, where he's acting weird to everyone else.
飯行こうぜ。
迷った？うん。お前さ、どうやったら通学で道に迷えんだよ。
ターキ、決まった？このパンケーキ代で俺1ヶ月は暮らせる。
She's resigned to thinking that it is a dream.
いい夢。どうしよう。俺バイト遅刻だって。
お前のシフト今日か。
The waiter. Imagine being thrust into that. Imagine this is your dream. You know what I mean? You have a dream and you're working. And it feels like it's something you can't like pinch yourself up for, like, you know what I mean? Like you can't transfer back.
ピザにさ、用事が入ってたんだけど。これ食っちゃったら危ないよね。
He planted that
俺が
there.
気づいたからよかったけどさ。
Slag bastard.
どうかなさいましたか？
ああ、このお兄
いいから。
奥寺さん、そのスカート、大丈夫ですか？
That's what he did?
切られてるみたい。
スカート脱いでください。
Oh man. Ah, yeah, because obviously
す
she's
ぐに済みますから。いました。
cute.
滝くんすごい。前よりも可愛い。女子力高いんだね。
片思いかな。
Possibly, yeah. It's just there. He's gonna get that tomorrow. I hope that doesn't rub off.
なんだこれ。
昨日はなんか可愛かった。
God.
今日もよろしくね。ね、滝くん。
Damn. He could be in there.
ポスター見た？頂上線の。
誰がやったって同じやん。助成金をどう配るかだけやろ。
そのおかげで生活できる子もおるんやで。
God, God. Quick tempered, right?
何よそれ。
So,
私、夢の中であの男の子と。
俺は夢の中であの女と入れ替わってる。
滝くんは
東京に住む同い年の高校生で、
ど田舎暮らしの三葉との入れ替わりは不定期で、
だから私たちはお互いの生活を守るためルールを決めた。入れ替わってしまっている時の注意点や。
Nice.
人の金を無駄遣いすんな。
食べてるのは君の体、私だってバイトしてるし。
組紐とかこ
Not
れ無理だろ。
really
あ
following
な
the
た
rules,
バ
are
イ
they?
ト入れすぎ。
お前の無駄遣いのせいだろ。
今日は帰り道に奥寺先輩とお茶。君たちの仲は順調だよ。
てめえ三葉、俺の人間関係変えるなよ。お前だっていねえじゃねえか。
私は
俺はい
ないんじゃなくて作らないの。おばあちゃん、なんでうちのご神体はこんなに遠いの？
結びって知っとるか？
結び？
土地の氏神様をな、古い言葉で結びって呼ぶんやさ。糸をつなげることも結び、人をつなげることも結び、時間が流れることも結び、わしらの作る組紐もせやから、神様の技、時間の流れそのもの、表し人の体に入ったもんが魂と結びつくこともまた結び。
That's cool. Is it in like a volcano crater?
志願に戻るには、あんたらの一等大切なもんを引き換えにせにゃいかんよ。
口紙酒。
ご神体にお供えするんやさ。それはあんたらの半分やからな。おや、三葉、あんた今夢を見とるな。
But then if that happened at that immediate time, did Mitsuha... But then what was that whole thing of like you're dreaming now? Or, like what was that?
私なんで？私が行きたいデートやけど、もし不本意にも滝くんになっちゃったとしたら、ありがたく楽しんでくること。
That's Itamori, isn't it?
君は昔私のことがちょっと好きだったでしょ。
え？
そして今は別の好きな子がいるでしょ。
いませんよ。
本当？
デートが終わる頃にはちょうど空に
彗星が見えるね。
They both look it up at the same time. At some point they can track each other down, right? Oh shit, they're calling each other. Oh damn.
ああ、なんかあいつ声暗かったぜ。
ちょっとどうしたの水葉？
髪が
She cut her hair.
やっぱ変かな。
やっぱ男関係なんかな。失恋とか。
男子ってすぐ恋愛に結びつけるな。なんとなく切っただけやって言っとったに。
Damn, dude. If only you could get that kind of view in real life, man. Breaking off. So I'm guessing that's what the Oh shit! Cause it was heading towards Itamori, wasn't it?
なぜかもう二度と俺と三葉との入れ替わりは起きなかった。
Fuck. That's mad. Shh. Is he trying to determine where he's at? Or where Mitsuha's at? He's drawn like the whole town.
入れ替わりが途切れ、電話は通じず、メールも届かず。だから俺は直接三葉に会いに行こうと
Oh
した。
god, I hope we're not gonna get there and it's just like a fucking crater of what used to be. It's crazy that like, no, like not once when he was in Mitsuha's body did he ever think about the name of the place that he was in, you know?
なんか全然見当違いなことをしているような気がしてきて。
おや、お兄ちゃん。
Oh damn, there you go.
ああ、糸森やな。懐かしい。
Damn, that was lucky.
この人、糸森出身やで。
糸森。 そうだ、糸森町。そうです。この近くですよね。
本当。
糸森ってのは。
Fucking Christ. It is just gonna be a crate. Oh my days. Oh, it sucks.
3年前に何百人が死んだあの災害、滝だって覚えてるだろ。死んだ。3年前に死んだ。だってあいつの書いたメモだってちゃん
What?
と。
That took place. The hell's changed on the fly? What? They're being deleted. What the fuck is going on?
1200年周期で太陽を回るティアマト彗星が。割れた彗星の一部が隕石となって日本に落下。
Gonna look for a name.
糸森には誰も住んでいないそうだ。
Fuck.
組紐だね。綺麗。滝くんのそれももしかして組紐？
あ、これは確か。
I was going to say when he put that on, it reminded me of the ribbon that she had.
入ってきたら。
So they did actually meet at some point.
紐は時間の流れそのものだって。ねじれたり絡まったり戻ったりつながったり。
He remembers that from the dream, talking to the grandma.
あの場所なら。
弁当上で食べや。あんたの書いた糸森、あらよかった。
What a good dude. Unravel and connect again. I wonder if there would ever be at the end of this a possible time travel, you know? Like anything that can go back in time or anything like that. Because if what he's talking about is like it unravels and connects again, then I feel like it can possibly undo, right? I wonder, like, if he drinks it.
こっちが妹でこっちが俺。時間がずれてた。結び。本当に時間が戻るんなら。
He is attempting to do that.
もう一度だけ。彗星。
He's gone into a different stage of consciousness here. He was drugged. It was LSD instead. It makes sense, like the flow of time being a red ribbon as well, because that's the whole thing in of itself, isn't it? Like the red thread of fate. Right, the mother. Called Kenny.
お姉ちゃんになったんやよ。ごめんね、みんな。
Why there's always a dead parent?
あんたがそんなんでどうする？
お前は誰だって。あなたこそ誰よ。うぬぼれんといてよね。彼女もおらんくせに。いいな。今頃二人はお願いがあるんやけど。そっか、彗星。
三葉、彗星が落ちる前に町から逃げるんだ。三葉、三葉、三葉。
Christ. She's awake with her shorter hair.
三葉だ。生きてる。妹だ。
God.
あんた、三葉やないな。
おばあちゃん。
How was she aware?
知ってたの。
I wonder if it's happened to her before,
わし
possibly.
も少女の頃、 不思議な夢を見とった覚えがある。夢で誰になっとったんか今ではもう
It's happened to her as well.
わしにもあんたの母さんにもそんな時期があった。
And the mother as well.
もしかしたら宮水の人たちのその夢って全部今日のためにあったのかもしれない。今夜糸守町に彗星が落ちてみんな死ぬ。
So I was kind of right at the beginning of being a premonition, but the way that it's like twisted and turned is mad. Maybe through the father, because he's, with it being an election, he has access to everyone in the town, right? So
みんな死ぬ。
さやかちゃん学校は
ちょっと街を救わないかんくて爆弾
what?
あ、含水爆薬っちゅう土木用のがうちの人
Oh yeah, he was being told to
こんな田舎の防災無線は起動用の
he was
簡単に乗っ
he
て
was
る
being told to learn
だから
explosives, right?
学校の放送室から町中に避難指示を流せる。私は町長に会いに行く。
最後は役場に出てきてもらわんと町民すべてはさすがに動かせん。
It's a great plan.
できる。
完璧な作戦や。
I'm on board with it.
まあ別に何でもいいんやけどどうせもしもの妄想やろ。
彗星が2つに割れて町に落ちる ?500 人以上が死ぬだと？よくもそんなざれ言を俺の前で。
バカにしやがって。
Jesus.
三葉。いや。
He recognizes because the mother went through the same thing, right?
行っちゃダメだ。町から逃げて友達にも伝えて。
何あんたお姉ちゃんなんなんやさ。
四葉夕方までにおばあちゃんと一緒に町から出て。ここにいちゃ死んじゃうんだよ。
ちょっと何言っとんの。昨日は急に東京に行ってまうしなんかお姉ちゃん変やよ。
She went to Tokyo, yeah.
そこにいるのか。
It's just
なんかあるの。
because she went to Tokyo yesterday that it feels like there must be a crossover in Taki coming here. So is this Mitsuha? Yes, okay.
滝君になっとる。町がない。
Well, it can't be then. It can't be the same timeline. We're going across different like dimensions. Like
私ちょっと東京行ってくる。
今から
just out of the blue.
デート。急に尋ねたら迷惑かな驚くかな。滝くんは嫌がるかな。
Like, why is that not going through? Because I assume it
ない。
at this point that
でも
at some point she had to give the ribbon
確
to
か
him.
なこと。私たちは会えば絶対すぐにわかる。私に入ってたのは君なんだって。君に入ってたのは私なんだ。
That's him. Bloody hell, Jesus!
3年前のあの時、まだ俺がお前を知る前。滝くん。私。
誰？お前。
It's weird that the time, like the passage of time is like.
あのさ。あんたの名前。
三葉。名前は三葉。
滝くん。
That's a great shot. Yeah, they're on a different plane of existence. They can hear each other. They can hear each other, but they... Oh, they felt it. Twilight, yeah. Where like it's like a blur between.
三葉。
They can actually touch each other at this point.
お前に会いに来たんだ。三葉の口上酒を飲んだんだ。
Yeah.
あれを。
God.
バカ変態。 そうだ、それにあんた私の胸触ったやろ。
The hell?
お前さ、知り合う前に会いに来るなよ。わかるわけねえだろ。
Yes, that was before.
3年俺が持ってた。三葉、まだやることがある。聞いて。
断る時がもう
終わる。なあ三葉、目が覚めても忘れないようにさ、名前書いとこうぜ。ほら。
Fuck.
お前が世界のどこにいても俺が必ずもう一度会いに行くって。君の名前は。
Write down, write down.
お前は
Fuck.
誰だ。俺はどうしてここに来た。
God damn it.
あいつに会うために来た。大事な人、忘れたくない人、忘れちゃダメな人。名前は。まだこの世界は。
Fuck's sake, dude.
君の名前は滝くん。
You're reaching the point where you don't have enough time to get everyone out and
私本当にやるん。
街が停電したらすぐに非常用電源に切り替わるはずやから。したら放送機器も使えるで。
Jesus Christ. Criminals.
次の地域の人は今すぐ糸森高校まで避難してください。
ここからの放送じゃないだと。誰が喋ってるんだ。
みんな逃げろ。山火事になってる。
山火事です。逃げてください。
これはとても間に合わん。三葉。
Yeah, it's cutting it close, isn't it?
どうした。
あの人の名前が思い出せ。
Motherfucker.
今のところ山火事はないんだな。確かか。よし、この放送を早く止めろ。発信元はまだわからんのか。
糸森高校まで。
お前何しとるんや。すぐに切りなさい。
Bloody hell.
やべえ。
こちらは糸森町役場です。島民の皆様は慌てずその場で待機して指示をお待ちください。
No.
あっち行こう。
慌てずその場で待機して指示をお待ちください。
お前何やってるんや。
マジで。
Not good, not good, not good, not good, not good.
1994年のシューメーカーレビー彗星が北西に落下。その際には少なくとも26の破片。
ちょっと見てきて。
ねえ、あなたは誰。君の名前は。
Ah, bloody hell, no.
目が覚めても忘れないようにさ、名前書いとこうぜ。
Yeah, Taki's still on hers, so. Oh, he didn't write the name.
これじゃ名前わかんないよ。
Christ.
三葉。
お姉ちゃん。
それはまるで夢の景色のように、ただひたすらに美しい眺めだった。
Jesus. Yes, I'm guessing that high school is the other side of the lake.
俺こんな場所で何やってんだ。
Come on, she's alive. She doesn't even know his name though, so how? Oh, Red!
ずっと何かを探している。
She might show up at the restaurant, possibly.
そんな気持ちに取りつかれている。探しているのが誰かなのかどこかなのか。
お、就活中だね。
だいぶ手こずってますけど。
うん。スーツが似合ってないからじゃない。
They keep digging out his suit. 8 years since. Okay. So another 5 years went by.
行ったことあったよね。あれってタキ君がまだ高校生だったから。
どこかの山で一人で夜を明かしたこと。記憶はその程度だ。ただあの彗星をめぐって起きた出来事に一時期俺は妙に心を惹かれていた。訓練があり、
104 deaths, it said.
人が被害範囲の外にいたというのだ。
君もいつかちゃんと幸せになりなさい。
She got married.
やっぱりもう一回ブライダルフェア。
Was that her?
どこも似たようなもんやろ。
She was just behind
そ
the
れからテッシーさ。
Oh
式
fuck!
までにヒゲ剃ってよね。私も3キロ痩せるでさ。
They got together. Oh, where you going? I'm sure she was behind the bar. I'm sure of it. Oh God, I don't know. Oh, come on, please. Oh, Jesus. We can't end this without them. Come on. Please. They'll meet on the train. They'll meet on the train. Come on. This is it. They'll meet each other. Who are you? We'll go through the same thing. Oh, God. They're a different... Come on. Yes, yes! What are you doing? You could...
俺、君をどこかで。
私も。
Great. Nice.
君の名前は。
二人の間通り過ぎた風は。
Okay. Your Name movie. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. It was beautiful. Beautiful story. And I didn't know what I was expecting really going into it. Other than, like I said, the supernatural tag that was like a part of it was the thing that intrigued me the most, because the other tags for it were like kind of, I mean, I can't see them now, but they were more like, you know, romance, drama, things like that. So I didn't really know what to expect going in, and I was pleasantly surprised by like the concept of it, that was essentially two different, let's call them like, you know, spirits, if you will, that, you know, that would basically essentially they would transfer between each other across time to almost be a premonition of what was to come to save, you know, not just obviously Mitsuha, but, you know, a hell of a lot more people than originally would have died, you know. And coming up to the end, I didn't know, like, when they were, you know, when they were in that twilight zone, like on top of the mountain, actually being able to interact with each other, I was worried that we were going to be stuck in a... There was multiple things that I was worried that, like, how the story was going to end, that, you know, it's something that you know, you can't stop, you know, like, it's like you can't change the future kind of thing. I was worried that was going to happen, but they managed to get that last sort of, you know, like communication together or whatever. The other thing I was worried about is that it's going to be a thing where they are permanently in different planes of existence, and therefore the only time they could ever meet is being in that one spot at twilight. So I thought that could be another like way that it was ended up going to go down. And damn, for like the last like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it was, I was so worried that they were never going to fucking, you know what I mean? They were never going to fucking find each other again, because they, you know, the more time that had elapsed, the more that they were forgetting, like, what it is that they, like, who they were searching for. And then it was a case of I don't even know if I'm searching for a someone or a place or whatever. So progressively just like left their mind. But I'm so happy that it ended the way that it did. Thank fuck for that. You know what I mean? They were really fucking teasing at the end there with so many close calls. God, I was like, if they just let it like kind of simmer, because they brought up like this this music that almost felt like, oh shit, we're in like this, we're coming up to the end and we're not going to see them actually reunite, and it's just going to be left open for us to basically say, well, eventually they would have figured it out, right? But I'm so glad, so fucking glad that they reunited. But fuck me, did they tease the hell out of that. So yeah, really cool. Like I said, I was relatively right at the beginning when I talked about it like being a premonition or something. I did throw out a lot of other stuff as well, so you know, I'm not going to be giving myself too much credit for that. But like, I was throwing out things like they could be in a coma or anything like that, or it could all just be, you know what I mean, they could be like dead or whatever. But it wasn't that way inclined. But yeah, I mean, the twist, man. I love the fact that it started off like almost like a slice of life kind of comedy thing where, you know, you think it's going on simultaneously because you have messages that are being passed back and forth, you know, but in reality it's not that way at all. The way that I guess I've made it out to be is that everything that is happening with Mitsuha is happening at the earliest time in the timeline, so it's happening the 3 years prior, but everything that's happening with Taki is happening in the present day. You know, like the 5 years before the end of the movie, right? When he's still in high school and everything like that. So all that's happening in present time. Everything that's happening with Mitsuha is happening 3 years prior to that, when they did meet once. But it's all like the thread of fate that's happening through like across time. Because I mean, I did explain it as almost like they're in a different plane of existence, and I guess to a kind of degree, it's not entirely true. It means that, like, you know, they are there at the same point at a different time. So, you know, it's a different plane of existence. You can't describe it as that, I suppose, but it's not entirely the right phrase, I guess. So yeah, it's like almost like Mitsuha through Taki is essentially trying to get across, I guess, to the future that this is going to happen, so that it needs to be stopped before it does. You know, Mitsuha obviously being a part of the original event she was struck at that point. But the fact of like she being a part of the whole thing, it's almost like kind of like subconsciously she is the one who told herself that this would happen, so therefore it needs to be stopped. You know, and she didn't manage to save everyone. I quite, it's going to sound really bad just to say I quite like that, because I think it's realistic considering considering the situation that was happening. You know, like they managed to stop Sayaka from being on the high school tannoy and everything, and projecting it to the town, and you know, people weren't taking it as seriously, and they were being a bit, you know, they were taking their time. It wasn't like they didn't see it as that big of a deal, so they weren't quick to get out of there, and some of them obviously would have paid the price for that, and some of them did. I mean, I did catch it at just the end, so I think it did say that 104 died in the new timeline thing, whereas before it was 500. So, you know, she managed to save 396 people, which is big deal. And yeah, I think that, you know, it was a really complete story as well. There was never any I don't think there was any wasted air. You know what I mean? I think everything came full circle, and everything worked the way that that you would have expected it to. There was nothing that was just like kind of filler. Everything with obviously the the mayor and Mitsuha being the mayor's daughter, that obviously came back around to be, the mayor was, he would have had to have told everyone to evacuate to the school, and everything. So clearly Mitsuha got through to him at the end there. Everything, like the grandma knowing that, you're dreaming, right? Like that you're someone else, that's something that is passed down, interestingly enough, just through that side of the family. It wasn't anyone else. Though I guess, it's obviously to do with the braided cord weaving and everything like that that's passed down through that specific family. And the reason why Taki was able to be another one that Spirit was crossing over and everything like that was because he was given some braided cord from Mitsuha. So that's what connected him to it. So it's not a thing that this isn't a thing that it just happened to be them. It's a case of they're the ones that were connected through that because it's the Miyamuzu family that has been passed down through. So I mean, the grandma was saying that she's had it, and also the mother did have it as well. For a second I thought that the mayor, when Taki was in her body, that he was who are you? Who, you know what I mean? What I originally thought was he recognized that something similar has happened before with the mother or something like that, and he was after her death, he was clearly just kind of went off the deep end a bit, and even to call that family crazy. He obviously knows that there was something odd about it, you know what I mean, and he picked up on that. So I guess the mayor does know something about it, or something that was similar that possibly did happen with Futaba, but yeah. It was a beautiful movie. The animation and the art was absolutely just sublime. Amazing art direction with the Comet itself as well. And the way that they animated a lot of it. I love that one specific scene where Taki drinks the sake, and he goes into that kind of that LSD almost dream state thing where he sees things happening, but in that very kind of, it was more artistic dreamlike style as opposed to it actually what it was looking like. I thought that was a really cool sequence. But yeah, the landscape shots were so well done. Such a beautiful movie. So yeah, everything worked out in the end, which I'm so happy for. So Tessie and Sayaka ended up getting together. They looked like they were engaged to get married. You could almost see that coming a mile off, couldn't you? Because they were always two peas in a pod together. Okudera ended up getting married. Yotsuha's obviously still in school, so that's great. Of course, they were, I figured that they were alive as soon as, they were flipping through the sort of the new timeline newspaper, basically saying that Itamori got hit. There was 104 dead, and they were basically talking about the mayor, because the mayor never gave up any real reason as to why he decided to evacuate people out of there. So once that it was clear that the mayor was alive, the the rest of the family was as well. So Mitsuha, Yotsuha, and the grandma, because obviously they were all sitting at the same spot, weren't they? So, so yeah, that was really, really great way to end it off. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to go into. Talking about before about like how everything, like there wasn't any filler, like everything, and this is like kind of like the way that I sort of approach anything that I react to, even in shows and everything like that, where sometimes there may be just filler just for the sake of being filler, but I tend to just kind of focus on things that could be considered like just like a one little, you know, it might be just like a one sly comment that you know, just kind of appears and disappears, seems to come out of nowhere. But I tend to hold on to those kind of like little details to obviously try and theory craft for going forward and what things might mean for going forward. And yeah, like the whole thing with the toward like the pretty much the very start of the movie, where Mitsuha's in class and they're talking, like the teacher's talking about, you know, that Twilight Zone and everything. I didn't actually write down the Japanese equivalent for it. It began with a K, like Kawakare or something like that. With that blur between you know, the twilight. So you know, so it's that sort of place between when the sun sets and it officially becomes dark, so that time there in between, that there is a blur, which obviously came back around later on when they could actually interact with each other. So yeah, so it's just like things like that I don't think in this movie there was ever just like a, you know, just a thrown off comment, things that never came back around to, you know, to fruition. So yeah, really well done. Yeah, so I wonder if with Mitsuha, like at the beginning, you know, wanting to get out of the small town and everything like that she almost like feels trapped there. I wonder if that was almost like a premonition in of itself, because she'd experienced being in Taki before, and that's what like kind of spurred her on to be there. I don't think that that's the case. I think it was just because I guess the stress of being the mayor's daughter in such a small, like, you know, well, you know, relatively speaking, like a smaller community, that's something you can't escape from. So you're always stuck in that, and you can't. And like, you know, I did say something along those lines earlier on in the movie about like she wants to get in amongst the city. There's so many people there that, you know, you can like have some downtime where, you know, you're not at almost the you know, you're not in like everybody's gaze the whole time, you know. But yeah. Yeah, so the ritual with the oldest sake in the world, I wonder, is that an actual thing? Is that a real thing? That, I mean, it's a ritual, right? So it's not to be drunk. That's the idea. Because originally when it was being done, I was like, so hold on, if it's being fermented into sake, then like my immediate thought was, well, it's to be drunk eventually, but that wasn't the case at the end. But when it was happening, I was like, yeah, if you drink that, you're essentially drinking the person's saliva, and you know, obviously it ended up being the case later on when Taki did it, and then when they could interact with each other, she was embarrassed that they called him a pervert and shit. But yeah, that's insane. But I think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is actually something that is like reality. I wouldn't also as hold on. I want to just check. I want to see if like Itamori is actually a real place as well. Itamori, Japan. So the Comet wasn't real. But does that mean that, like... Hold on, did a comet hit Itomori? No, so right, so the town of Itomori is actually fictional. But it's inspired by a place in the Gifu prefecture. I see, okay. Yeah, right, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was wondering if it was like, if it was a real place, like, I could have seen it be a real place where a comet did once strike, and that's where the lake comes from, but the other comet that actually happens in the movie that originally kills, like, Mitsuha and everything like that was, that wasn't real. But, it's saying here, Itomori is not a real, like, an actual, it's just a fictional place. But it is inspired by the place around there, so where it would be considered, there is, a similar look out there anyway. So yeah, but it's a homage to the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in 2011. So that's what that's for. Damn, man, that's cool. So yeah. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. I don't know really how much else to talk about. Really, you know what I mean? Like, there's another one. Another one that came around back to fruition was the Tessie and his explosives. That's another thing that came around. I remember when, like, obviously it was brought up that one time earlier on in the movie, and I was like, what? What? But it's clearly for, like, construction purposes to, I guess, to, demolish, certain buildings that need to come down. That you would obviously put at the base of buildings to bring them down in the safest way possible. But that ended up coming back and around. And a great plan that they had where they would basically fake a kind of like a semi-terrorist act to get people's, like, attention, essentially, which would allow them to get, the attention of the general population to actually get the fuck out of there. So yeah, it was a really, really cool idea. Good thing that they actually got Tessie, Mitsuha got Tessie and Sayaka on board, because, I mean, I know that, like, they're friends, but to kind of, to urge somebody to go through with that, it's like, that's a bit mad, and it's based on somebody's sort of, like, yeah, I mean, you could look at it as almost like a guessing game. When you come with, like, when anything is like a premonition and somebody's telling you that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, you're going off, like, gut instinct whether or not to trust them or not. 99.9% of the time, people are going to just call, it's going to be fine, or, you know what I mean, you're talking crazy. So to get them on board to go through with that based on just what they would almost consider just a hunch, but they clearly believed her. Thank God for that, because otherwise, we may have never been able to fix what happened. So yeah, throughout, like, I was beginning to wonder, like, especially, like, towards the end, like, is the grandma, like, does she have some power that we're not privy to? You know what I mean? But I get it's just experience, because she's been around so long and she's obviously, been through this kind of thing before. But she was never lying when she called it dreams. And I guess it was something that was stated at the very beginning of the movie about it being a dream. Like, immediately when she wakes up, she was like, it feels real. So it's like she's waking up from a dream. It is actually correct. The way that it's, like, portrayed you know, like I said, like it's almost like portrayed, especially at the beginning when you don't know really what's going on, you don't know the meat of it, that you think it's happening at the same time and everything, so their spirits are actually transferring. When in reality you're dreaming, like it's like you're dreaming that you are someone else that's affecting them and giving them the information that they need, I suppose. Because obviously it's taken place in different times, so, you know, it's not something that was happening at the same time. Because that was a question that I was going to actually bring up during, was like, when we are looking at, for example, because they did it in a way where you would go along with Taki and Mitsuha's body, and then you would go along with Mitsuha and Taki's body, that you weren't seeing them simultaneously. So I was going to ask the question, like, so whenever Mitsuha is in Taki's body, does that mean like, because where's Taki then at that point? You know what I'm saying? So it was Taki and Mitsuha's body. That was something that I was going to ask, and that was like in the first half of the movie. But then obviously, you know, you learn everything that's going on there, and obviously that, you know, it isn't the case. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's you know, well worth the praise and the popularity that it has. You know, and I've got nothing to really base it on, like, off of, in terms of, like, you know, its popularity was that big that it, like, kind of surpassed Spirited Away, which is, you know, which was considered like the biggest, highest grossing animated movie of all time, I believe. So, you know, and I can't base, like, obviously which I think is better because I haven't seen Spirited Away. So it's like that thing of, I'll have to just watch that at some point and see how good that is. But yeah, I mean, I will get around to all these movies at some point. You know, so the Studio Ghibli movies, I'll be going through those as well. And yeah, I mean, if you do have any recommendations for any movies that you do want me to check out, then just leave them in the comments below, and I'll get around to them. I'll make a list, and we'll go through them. You know. But yeah, I really did enjoy this movie. I think it's a very, very complete movie, and it's the first movie that I've done on this channel I've reacted to that is just basically a standalone thing. It's not a show that, you know, was previous that goes along with it. It's just a complete story. That, you know, it didn't need a sequel, anything like that. It just is what it is. And I found it very complete and very, very rewarding at the end as well. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. So thank you for those who did recommend that movie to me. I really enjoyed it. But that is all I got. So thank you everyone for watching. I do apologise actually if I have left out anything that, you know, I needed to really talk about. The thing is that when I talk about, you know, shows and everything like that, it's generally the case of an overarching story over the course of a show that I know there is going to be more ahead. So, you know, it's based, like, a lot of what I talk about is what does this mean for the future of everything like that. But because obviously this is just a compact story in of itself, there's nothing obviously to theorize, because all the answers and everything were provided to me in the movie, you know. So I can only really just sit here and like tell you guys how much I liked it, you know, and I did really love it. So yeah, anyway, that is all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access, that gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full length tier, which gives you access to the full length shows that I do, so the reactions to the shows. And then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to the full length for movie reactions. Okay, so if you do want to watch my full length reaction to this movie, then that is the tier for you. The link for that will be in the description as well. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.